going on, guys? Dre here and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, what I really want to do is to share with you guys some of the essential pieces that I think personally makes up a modern desk setup, so that you can possibly think about implementing these same pieces to your own desk setup. Now, putting together a clean modern desk setup is perhaps one of the best things that I personally could have done for my own dedicated workspace here at home. It definitely did increase my productivity and really improve just my overall day-to-day. Now, I know that not everyone works the same way, and there's definitely no one-size-fits-all approach here. Some need a desk setup for more casual browsing, while others' setups are simply their work-from-home office. That's whether you're a full-time professional, content creator, gamer, photographer, college student, or anything in between for that matter. A proper modern desk setup is pretty much for everyone. Now, I'm actually here in this video to help to inspire at least one of you guys by putting together a list of some of the essential pieces that goes into really creating what is called a modern desk setup, which is for the most part going to be centered around two things. That's ergonomics and organization. So let's get straight to it. Let's assume that you have some of the basic pieces at hand for your setup. You have a proper laptop or a desktop PC and a decent enough monitor to really get you started. Well, let's put it together, and we're going to be starting by considering our first essential piece, and that's going to be, of course, the desk itself. Now, my go-to option and recommendation, of course, has got to be a height adjustable sit-stand desk. And what else can I say about these other than the fact that these have just completely revolutionized the way we work at our desk. Now, to put it simply, they allow you to pretty much change the position easily throughout the day, either by standing periodically or just varying the height as you like. Now, standing for at least part of the day has really shown and proven to boost productivity and well-being. There is increased blood flow that will keep your energy levels high, and it's also been proven and linked to lower blood pressure and also the risk of heart disease. Now, the sit-stand desk that I personally have is from a company called X-Desk, and I've had it for quite some time now, and I absolutely love it. This is not a sponsored video or ad, but I'll leave a link to the desk down in the description for you guys to check out if you're interested. What I'll do, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna link all the pieces that I do mention in this video down in the description box, so you guys can have pretty much at least a starting point whenever you're doing your research. But let's put aside all the benefits of having a sit-stand desk. There are definitely a few things that you should look out for and consider before you actually pick one up. Now, the number one thing that I want to and I must point out to you that you should definitely look out for is the stability and the wobble factor. Now, make sure when you're going to buy one that it's stable whenever it's in use, and also when transitioning between heights. Now, I've seen this happen to really cheaper models predominantly, so I definitely urge you to be on the lookout for that. Now, the second thing that I urge you to consider and look out for is to try to get one that has programmable heights. Now, there are many variations of electronic sit-stand desk, and I definitely recommend getting one which actually allows you to save your optimum height as a preset, whether sitting or standing. The third thing that I should urge you to consider is getting one with at least a pretty decent cable management system. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory, but keeping your cables out of the way and managed properly really reduces clutter and, of course, trip hazards. Also, what it does, it ultimately just has your workspace looking really clean and minimal and also modern, because that is the aim. Let me just say that regular, more conventional office desks do have their place in creating that modern desk vibe that we're looking for, and are more often much cheaper and easier accessible than sit-stand desks. So I'm definitely not knocking it at all. I'm simply leaning more towards the one that has the added benefits and functionality. So definitely go with what actually benefits you the most. Moving on to the second essential piece, and that's having a great chair. Now, I can't stress this enough. Every workspace needs a really great solid chair. Whether it's more humble office chair or my personal favorite, an ergonomic chair, Or even if you decide to really boss it in an executive chair, the same principle pretty much applies. Whatever chair you go for, you really need to have maximum flexibility and adjustability. And an ergonomic chair, in my opinion, will not only give you that, but will keep with the consistency of having that modern aesthetic. Now, the ergonomic chair that I personally went for is the Ergo Chair Pro, which is from Autonomous, and it has a plethora of adjustments. One, it has a adjustable lumbar support, it has a headrest, it has a height and tilt adjustment, which allows me to find the perfect height and angle whenever I'm sitting at my desk. And of course, my favorite, a mesh back, which provides great airflow to help keep me cool for especially those extremely hot summer temperatures. Now, all this plus it just looks so awesome, makes this almost a must-have piece to add to any desk setup. Now, there are many different options, of course, from different companies that you can perhaps choose from. So definitely do your research and do yourself, your back and your desk setup some justice, and please consider getting a good solid chair. Let's move on to our third essential piece, and that's going to be placing your monitor, or monitors for that matter, on monitor arms or monitor stands. I personally much prefer using monitor arm and would definitely recommend anyone to consider these as well, as it is actually keeping with the focus here of ergonomics in a modern desk setup. Now, if you didn't know, monitor placement is actually quite important to get right, as it can potentially save yourself from having really bad postural issues in the long run. And by mounting your monitor on monitor arms, in my opinion, allows for that great flexibility of movement and definitely a wider range of positioning. They normally clamp onto the back of your desk, which also adds another benefit of saving space on your desktop. One major thing to consider though when picking up a monitor arm is to ensure it is able to support the weight of your monitor, as there are varying options available that support varying weight and size monitors on the market. I personally have a 38-inch ultra wide that you can probably see in the back there, and the monitor arm that I found that supports my monitor really well is from a brand called AVLT, which also happened to have a pretty decent cable management system that really helps me to organize the cables coming out from the back of my monitor really well. As mentioned, monitor stands are also very good viable options, or alternatives for that matter, if you happen to have this space on your desk and you much prefer the look. It might be lacking the flexibility of monitor arms, but it does lift your monitor off the desk so that you may adjust to the perfect height, which is the aim, right? Now I've got this desk shelf over here from GroveMate, and it acts not only as an accessory for me to store or hide things on my desk, but it also acts as a monitor stand, which is perfect for situations like this. Now they do have dedicated monitor stands on their website, so definitely use the link down in the description to check it out if you're interested. Hey, if you've made it to this part of the video and you're finding value so far, then please consider leaving a like on the video. That would be a massive help in order to get this video suggested more. Alright, let's get back straight to the rest of the video. Now, for the fourth essential piece, or pieces in this instance, are going to be the keyboard and mouse combo. Now, this is going to be somewhat of a subjective kind of situation here. Now, this is going to be varying depending more on your personal preference, but one thing is for sure, having a good keyboard and mouse is definitely a must. Where keyboards are concerned, you'll know what you prefer when you're selecting one. But what I would recommend is to choose something as slim as possible so that it allows you to keep your mouse tucked in a little bit closer, which minimizes twisting as you work. For the mouse, considering something that can be trackable on almost any surface without sticking is definitely something you should consider, because that can be pretty annoying. Now I'm using the ever popular Logitech MX Master 3 as my mouse option, which I absolutely love, and the MX keys for my keyboard, which is also a favorite among many. I went for these options that can be operated wirelessly simply because I do much prefer having a cable-free desktop. Now onto our fifth piece of essential item, which is undoubtedly gonna be our lighting situation at our desk. Now, how you light your space can really make all the difference in your workroom. So if possible, I'll definitely recommend choosing a room with lots of natural light. But what happens if that's not the case, or you're caught working in the nights with little to no light apart from the glare that's perhaps coming from your monitor? Then ensure to have lamps to help prevent yourself from straining your eyes. One of the more popular options here for this, and one I'd recommend of course, is a screen bar monitor light. I love these lights simply because they can be mounted on top of the monitor, which really frees up space on your desk, and it really helps to illuminate whatever it is you're working on at your desk at pretty much any given time. The color temperature can be adjusted to mimic warm or daylight color temperatures, as well as the brightness can be adjusted to really suit the actual amount of light that you might be needing. Now, I do highly recommend these lights, as I said, as a piece for pretty much any modern desk setup. Of course, there are other options that you might want to consider. One such alternative that I would recommend using are light strips or light bars on the back of your monitor to help illuminate your desk or illuminate your workspace for that matter. Now, this also is going to work really well and maybe also paired with other lamps around your desk to get as much light as you need. But one thing for sure, never underestimate the importance of having good light at your desk. All right, moving on to our last piece or pieces in this instance, and it's gonna be a combination of a webcam and a microphone. Now, having a good quality webcam has undoubtedly become a must-have now that video conferencing has pretty much become a norm, and also as more and more persons have gotten involved with hosting their own live streams. Now, incorporating a dedicated webcam and microphone into your desk setup means your video and sound quality will be crystal clear and really sharp, and you're actually going to be keeping up with the times. Now, of course, there are a plethora of options to choose from when looking for a webcam and a microphone for your desk setup. Now, webcams have gotten really good of late, so it's really hard not to be able to find one that suits you best. So definitely do your research and find one that really fits into your desk setup really well. But if you're like me and you happen to have, let's say, a DSLR or a mirrorless camera just sitting around, then why not use it? All you need to do is to purchase a capture card to connect your camera to your computer and you're all set. It's as easy as that, trust me. This is gonna be my go-to option, and it's the option that I personally use to get the best video quality. Now, there are an abundance of microphones that are also available on the market that you can choose from. Now, my advice is to actually get a dedicated USB microphone, and then it's a simple plug and play. You have high quality sound for all your live streams and your conference calls. But before we end the video, there's one bonus essential piece that I'd like to recommend to you quickly, and that's gonna be adding a multi-port hub to your desk setup. Now, this is almost gonna be a must-have, especially if you're using a laptop like, let's say, a MacBook at your desk. Given the many different accessories that I personally needed to plug into use at my desk, there's absolutely no way that I could have done that with the few ports that comes with the MacBook Pro that I'm using. And that's where the multi-port hub comes in really handy. There are, of course, many options to choose from, but try to at least get one that gives you access to at least an additional, let's say, 5 to 10 ports. I'm using one that's called the CalDigit TS3 Plus, and this actually gives me an additional 15 ports to use if I need, which has been so handy to have, especially as a content creator. So definitely consider adding this to your setup. You might just never know when you'd actually need additional ports to use. All right, so as I said earlier, these are just some of the essential pieces that I personally believe you should first consider for your modern desk setup. Eventually, once you find all the things you need for your desk setup, you'll reach a certain comfort level, and then after a while, you may get a new game console, a second monitor, more art, and so on, causing you to want to buy more or get rid of certain pieces from off of your desk setup. But what's true is a desk setup will always be an ongoing project, and that's okay. As we evolve as human beings, so do our surroundings, and change, in my opinion, is always good. Anyways, I sincerely hope you really liked the items that were recommended in this video, but let me know down in the comment section some of the things that you personally would consider as essential pieces for a modern desk setup, or if you actually agreed with the pieces that I selected. Just let me know by sounding off down in the comment section below. Now, if you've made it to the end of the video and you enjoy content like this, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? That would be really awesome and helpful in helping to grow this YouTube channel. But thanks for all the support as per usual, and I'll definitely see you guys again in my next video. Peace.